Hello everyone and welcome to another 2v2 brought to you by Doke Doke and Kent Game Guides. This is going to be exemplifying the new AI that was put in the most recent patch. I'm playing as a French deck this time versus the previous two which had Polish decks. Really like the French. I like the AMX-32 tank that they have, and they have some good air too with the Intendaris. And overall I think it'll be a good map. We're playing on Gaul. Not Highway to Oslo. Again, another relief for the viewers that have seen my other two videos. Just starting deployment here. As you can tell, the AI, my ally and teammate, you don't get to see where their units are going until you hit the launch battle. Of course, this is also kind of nice because since you're playing against AI, you get to choose when it starts. You can take as long as you want to position all your troops before the battle begins. And, well, I'm a slow thinker, so I really enjoyed that when I was playing this. I didn't have much experience playing against the AI in European Escalation, but I read a lot of reviews about how it was and such, and had a little bit of experience with it. But I was excited to see how this was. The difficulty setting on these are hard. There are 4 different difficulties levels. I figured I'm probably not good enough quite yet to do the very hard, but we'll see how this match turns out before I make that judgment call. The other unit that I really like is the ERC Sagne Recon unit that they have. I really like recon units that have a good barrel-sized gun that can do some damage from distance and still isn't really hindered by small arms fire at all. Can even take a few shots from larger tanks and such that are cheap. Placing some AA and all that, I figure if the computer lets me, I'll keep our starting point here for the reinforcement zone, and then I'm going to move primarily to the right. I'm just pulling down a couple recon infantry units to move up to the center of the map, and hopefully that's the direction the AI decides to go. But again, we'll see what happens when the battle begins. Just making sure I like what I have there. A couple AMX-32s, 3 recon units, command vehicle, 4 20-man squads of infantry. We will see how this goes. Again, Foxtrot, I'm just sending a couple units to, hoping AI takes that. I'm primarily going to make my way to Hotel and Echo, because I really don't know how aggressive my teammate's going to be here. I was a little disappointed to see that they did spawn quite a bit on the right there to go to Hotel, more than I would have liked. Would have liked them to focus more on Foxtrot, but hey, it's a computer, I guess we'll deal with it. I thought it was nifty too, at the very beginning, to put up flares for what it was thinking it was going to do. So defend, attack, attack. Pretty obvious and generic, of course, but still nice to see them do. My units are making their way to Hotel. I've got a couple AA back at base. I've heard a couple reviews that the computer with the new A model uses a lot of aircraft, so that was something that I was wary of going into this. So I tried to purchase a lot of support for that. I didn't purchase any fighters, though, to start the game with in my hangar there. Something I questionably could have done. I decided for now, though, to stick with the ground AA as my defense, and hopefully my computer teammate would have some AA fighters. Or fighter escort interceptors, I should say. Moving up some eyes there into Echo to kind of scout whether or not they're making a bum rush for it. I have secured now Hotel, which will give me some nice point income there. And I didn't realize this until later in the game, but it turns out that my computer teammate also sent a command vehicle to Hotel. So we had 2 command vehicles sitting in the forest there securing the same thing. I'll figure it out in a little bit here, though. Now that I'm not seeing anything directly there in the reinforcement zone, I'm going to send up some infantry into the town, put a scout there on the tree lines, that way he can cover the approach on the left. This scout, I wanted to go over here and guard the right flank to make sure he couldn't get any units in to guard my reinforcement point and camp it. Over here on the left, you can see moving up a little slower than I thought they would have. They're really securing this, well, tree line, just as I had already done, so it's kind of unnecessary for them. They've got a couple gazelles there. They have some VABs carrying infantry. Let's see what else. Yeah, actually quite a few gazelles there, more than I thought they had. which is kind of interesting that they choose that much. They have some mortars back there as well on the tree line, so that will provide some good support. On the right-hand side here with Echo, I'm moving up an AMX-32 and VAB of infantry to where my future spawn point will be, so that way I can ensure I have that protected. I call in a fighter, just so that way I have it available. Deposit my 2 infantry units there into the town, fortify a bit of a defensive position. Also something to note, we're only playing to 3,000 points. I wanted this to be a bit of a shorter game for my first experience with AI. I didn't want it to drag out too much. Probably could have done it longer. On the left I have the AMX-32 there by the town. Maybe should have put a recon there to his northwest, but it turns out being okay. And on the left-hand side here, at this point I'm seeing that there are roads that are completely undefended for the AI to come flank me down. So at this point I get some infantry and I decide to deploy them there along the road. And I figure I'll start there, eventually move my way up there to that hill, and maybe even all the way to the town and flank them. But for now we're going to start with that. Also call in a recon helicopter. I like those just because if they did deposit one unit of infantry or something in the forest, it's easier to spot them. The gazelles look like they were stunned by something. So I haven't seen much of my opponent yet. Depositing my infantry there into the town, moving the recon up to the tree line to the left, so that way he has a good field of vision on that plane. And you can see that they actually have an FOB position fairly forward there. And I see my first contact on the right with a recon of the AI just over the crest of that little hill. I'm in a pretty good defensive position on the right. Pretty happy with where I'm sitting there. A little nervous about the left. I'm seeing a little bit more activity and I'm hearing explosion sounds, which is always a cue of something's happening. They have AA out there in the field, some infantry, recon. Again, that recon pops up north of Echo. And I decide to move up my units a little further. I figure if I can get them close enough by moving them up through the forest, perhaps I'll be able to have a line of fire on the flank, whatever comes down that road. And at this point I still don't have a logistics on Echo. I wasn't really sure if the AI would bring one in or if that was quote-unquote my responsibility. Over here I bring up another recon because I realize there's nothing covered there on the hill, so they can sneak up there pretty easily. In the town, the AI actually shells us a little bit here with some artillery, and that persists actually throughout most of the game. They're very persistent. My AI teammates moving some stuff to the top of the hill in the middle of goal. And quite a few units there guarding hotel. Probably more than needed. Probably could have moved up more than what I had. And this is kind of exactly what I was hoping for, is that if I got these units up here this far, if they do advance down that road, I can just hit them on their flank and with the AMX-32 hopefully one-shot everything they send. Again, very secure defensive position. I'm quite happy about it. We have a slight point advantage, 365 to 239, very early in the game though. The computer's actually done more than me. I naturally have not been that aggressive by now. After watching the other 2 videos, you guys should know that. Especially when I don't even know how the AI is going to act, I'm not going to be that aggressive. I noticed they're bringing in some fighters, another aircraft, so I pull up some more AA support there to Echo. And just like the review said, 4 aircraft just sitting over my territory. I was a little disappointed with how my AA reacted to them, but I did manage to shoot down a couple of them. Just trying to micromanage it a little bit. That MiG, though, I did not end up getting. And looks like they send in some Su-25s up there again, too. So they're staying persistent with it. At this point, I'd realized actually that they had another logistics, or a CV carrier in hotel, so I moved mine up there to Echo. And this is kind of interesting too. I noticed that all the flares are in French. I don't know if this is something that'll be fixed after beta, so I can actually read what the computer wants me to do. I'm assuming it means, here, please move up to this position. And I kind of do kind of don't. I really don't have much motivation to move up on the right when there's so much fighting happening on my left here, but I do pull up more AA just in case they try an offensive on that side. At this point, my teammate computer is kicking my butt in points, doing much more to help our team than I am. They did have to pull back their CV there due to the flanking maneuver on the north of the hill there by my teammate, so at the very least that was good. Still no movement there on the left flank, but then I do notice the infantry carriers, if you caught them, by that town. So at this point, I move my AMX-32 here to the left to try to cut those guys off. And I'll eventually call in more units there to try to defend the left flank. Just a lot of infantry fighting really going on in the town right now, and doing a pretty good job of holding the positions. I've only lost 3 infantry so far there, but again, I have not scored many points. Our team has the point advantage of 1520 to 909, so that's very nice to see that we're in a healthy position. At this point I'm thinking, yeah, I probably could have handled the very hard mode if I had tried, but still nice to see what the hard's like. I've lost all line of sight on those infantry carriers moving there to the left. This has me kind of worried because I have higher end tanks sitting there, but I'm not sure if my flanks are protected or if they can even see me, but I don't have any scouts. I go for the risk, and they do just fly past me there on the road, and I'm hoping here to catch these 2 groups of 4 infantry carriers each right here in the flank and take a couple of them out. Knock one out. I think I'm going to get a second here on that second group. This makes me happy. I'm getting some kills here on this side. There's the second. They're doing another arty barrage there on the town. There's the 3rd infantry vehicle my AMX-32's gotten there. And it would appear that they've just barely gone out of my line of sight. I'm going to try to get the recon vehicle. Got it. And this is where I was a little disappointed that the AI didn't decide to either pull back or to bring back its infantry units that had passed me already. They can't do much to me there. Just an interceptor fighter. Try to knock off the Sapri 10s there. At least try to push them back. And you can see here that they completely flanked our side. The Gazelle's trying to hold them off a little bit. I brought in my Mirage to try to add some fighter cover. Another Mirage, because again, the fighters are all over. And at this point, after examining the situation, I decided I really need to bring some more ground forces here to the left. So I'd called in 2 groups of 3 of AMX-30s. They're cheaper tanks. They have decent frontal armor, but very, very weak on the sides and on the top. So I was worried about what the aircraft would be able to do to them since they're in groups of 3. But I bring them over. They're a pretty good counter for fighting against infantry vehicles that are just open in the field. Hopefully I can take some of them out. You can see over there my AMX-32 is still doing a decent job, but I probably should have pulled him back here because I don't have any eyes on the enemy, and with so many tree lines there, it's hard to keep track. I am killing some of their infantry there in the forest there. There's another 5 of them gone, so I'm stunning and panicking them a little bit. I bring my infantry up, knock out one group of the infantry, have some more crossing the field here. And again, this is something I was a little disappointed by with the AI, that they just move infantry openly across a field versus loading an infantry carrier or something. You can see though that one of their ATGM infantry do knock out my AMX-32. Perfect example of hitting a tank on its flank. Very easy to kill it that way. Now I'm just moving up my AMX-30s to try to clear out those tree lines. Trying to be a little cinematic here as I play. I think it's kind of cool having them rush in to save the day. Have the infantry carrier I called over as kind of a bait scout. They were just sitting behind the town anyways, but I figured this way it'll let me see them for at least a moment or 2. And then the AMX-30s can do their job. You can see they're already down to 3 infantry units there. Over here we have a BRDM Conquerors firing at my AMX-30s. Knocks one of them out. I'm hoping to get one of theirs here once I get into range. Knock one out. Gotta go for the second. I've already lost 2 AMX-30s. Am I gonna lose a third? Yep, lost a third. Still have 3 left though. Winning the point battle here with these AMX-30s, and that's gone. So now I pull up the other VAB, and I'm going to use that to scout the rest of the infantry in the tree line. Recon there, going to try to take out the infantry, and that's exactly why I put them over there to prevent a flanking maneuver. Another example of the AI rushing their infantry out into an open field without cover, without any type of vehicle. But I have a theory that they were actually trying to move that infantry vehicle back to pick up those infantry. It just, I don't think it calculated the distance and how long it would take for them to get there. So at the very least it looked like they were trying, it just never made it. Over here you can see that my MX-30s are taking some damage. They're now stunned. ATGMs are still being fired at them. I don't have any line of sight, so I decided to just fire on position there, because I'm pretty certain I know where they are. Try and take out the Su-22s there. The MiG takes out one of my AMX-30s. Again, that very weak top armor is unfortunate, but I did shoot down that fighter, which was nice. At this point, we have a point advantage of 2430 to 1759. Healthy lead at this point. Don't have too much further to go. And you can see here with how many points I built up, it's another example of how I mentioned in the first video, I believe, that maybe it's just my micromanaging ability, but there's so much point income that you don't always need it. I mean, could have advanced maybe a little faster on the left flank if I'd continuously brought in all those reinforcements, but I did just fine. We're still going to get the win. Maybe I would have needed those points immediately if I was playing on a harder difficulty. Looked like there were just some supply trucks sitting out here in the middle, so decided to have the recon get them real quick. Spot some more infantry there in the woods, so I'm eventually going to move up on those. Maybe I'm just going to highlight my units and think about it for a moment. Over there on the left, it looks like that my AI just passed some open infantry in a field. It's not something that I think most players would have done, and again, was a little shocked about the lack of awareness shown by the AI there. But overall, I mean, it's been a pretty competitive match. It wasn't the very hard difficulty, but I mean, it still provided a challenge. I wasn't able to just stop and watch. Again, lots of air units. You see the Mi-24s up there north of the town, the Mi-44. Excuse me, the Mi-4As. My teammate there, I thought it was kind of clever. It looks like it's moving up its recon there to the tree line that I had positioned it in previously. It seems to learn that those open fields, where to put the recon to get the maximum line of sight. Now 500 points away from victory, moving up the AMX-30s. You can see all my reinforcements are slowly coming into the town. And just a general observation here, look at all those artillery impacts there on that field. They were quite persistent with that artillery barrage throughout the game, and probably explains why they had their FOB deployed so far forward there. Another MiG tries to make a passing run in. My AA units are moving and don't get a shot at him right away, but I'm going to try to get him here as soon as he comes in range. You can see me just waiting. Pull the trigger, pull the trigger. Launches a missile, misses. Don't worry, I've got 4 more AA units to try to shoot him down. Teammate's AA stuns him. But still, after all of that, he gets away. The SU I think I get though. Don't I? Yeah, it looks like the SU was shot down. Doing another artillery barrage. I think they kind of sense that I'm moving up there on the left. It used to be that they're centered on the town. Now you can gradually see their trajectory moving there further to the left. The right-hand side has seen literally 0 action. Aside from those 2 logistic units, there was not a single conflict on the right-hand side. So I also thought it was kind of interesting that the AI did develop a strategy of defend one flank, only attack and pressure on the other. Just trying to get all my reinforcements in order here, get the AA all situated. Got a lot of infantry moving up into those forests, but at this point we had won. There's my congratulatory. I won. Thank you again, guys, so much for watching. Please like or subscribe to us if you did enjoy the video. I'll be putting another one up a little bit after this, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone. This is Doke Doke.